Okay. So I'm gonna do this from outside because I can't be inside right now. I got some earphones in. I'm trying this for the first time, and we're gonna test this out. And I think this will work. Mercury's not fucking with me, but it's fucking with the world right now. Anyway. So real quick while we're getting started. That's why it took me a minute to get started, because what's good, homie? Connection stuff. But I'm trying new things, so it's not, oh, Mercury's Gatorading. But I'm gonna burn some frankincense, pospuela sacra, real quick. And I'm also gonna burn some really hard to get or come across dragon's blood resin. It's one type out of the 3 or 4, but I'm just gonna burn this because the towns around me are on fire anyways before now. But yeah, I'm gonna burn this. And yeah, today we're gonna talk about Mercury. I'm gonna talk about Mercury. I'm gonna talk about Mercury. And yeah, I started this work with Mercury a few weeks ago. And today I took that Mercury process to the next level. And every process with Mercury is scary because it's so dangerous, it's so toxic, it's so poisonous. But I had to get over myself, and I'm like a cut hair away from fully being over myself already. But yeah, so today I oxidized the mercury to continue the extraction. By the way, I've had people asking me how I process mercury, what to do, and all this shit. I'm just gonna be very blunt right now with you guys. Whoever, don't fucking ask me. I'm not gonna talk to you about my process with mercury. I'm not gonna guide you or give you hints on how to process mercury. Everyone wants to make red mercury right now. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm just gonna be very honest with you. I think my name is started. If you can't hear me, give me a thumbs up. But I took a lot of it today, a lot, and I've been working on some things with Mercury recently. I've been working with some stuff with Mercury for about 8 years now, since 2015, 2016. I mean, I've had some close friends even tell me that I highly or hyper identify with Mercury or Hermes. Like I say, I can't help it, but it's like, and it's not that the thing that's speaking right now is Hermes or Mercury, but it is at the same time, because I'm pretending to be you, you're pretending to be me, all this shit. Yeah, I'm also very shaky from working with the Mercury today. The metals always affect me when I work with them, but I put off Mercury for so long now because, well, biologically, psychologically, psychospiritually, it's just, yeah, it's so crazy to work with this thing. And like I've been fucking around with radioactive elements. I mean, no nervousness, no fear whatsoever. The mercury, though, it's over reflection of a nervousness with working with myself, or self, capital S. And that's the thing that's gonna fucking kill you when you get to know yourself, like fully, truly, authentically. And yeah, so here we go. I have, these are notes. Some of them are new, some of them are really old, some of them are from like 2017, 2018. Then there's a gap because I moved to house, and then I worked for a child for a while, and I that thing went to the background, and it just said, nah, play the game for a while, learn where you need to learn, and then I'll be back. And it's back, like full force. My relationship with Mercury was initiated through an extensive initiation program that I started with myself through 5 grams of mushrooms in silent darkness. There's like 2 days of fasting, 5 grams of mushrooms, and it's layers to get to this thing. And then eventually I did 28 tabs of LSD, and then I heard a name for the first time, and it's like, huh, I'm either fucking crazy or I'm not, and there's something to this thing. But I've come to the understanding that it's a little bit of both, and it makes sense that it will be 50-50 right in the middle, right? I am fucking crazy and I am mad, but I've learned to ground that, to center that, and to structure that. And well, you know, here we are having this conversation. So with that, into the spirit, cheers guys, if anybody's drinking. What's up? So I've been studying Hermes from the psychoanalytical aspect. So mainly Jungian psychoanalysis. And Carl Jung was my shaman. He was my alchemist, and he was my psychologist. And so that's how I started to be introduced to this idea of Hermes. There are other psychoanalysts that have worked from his work. There's a really good book called Hermes Exopsychology and Complexity Theory, and the eco-psychology of complexity theory with Hermes, Mercury, same guy, same thing. And when I took those 28 tabs of LSD, I ruptured reality, my reality. And I ruptured that, I lost my shit. So everything that I believed was, I put it on the line. And I was cool with that because I felt that reality was a lie anyway. So everything that I knew was bullshit. Everything that I believed, I knew was bullshit. The fact that I'm human, that I have a mother, or the lack thereof, and a family, or the lack thereof, and, you know, love and everything. I knew that it was a fucking story, but I just didn't understand it. I did not have the syntax. I didn't have the vocabulary skills nor the experience to be able to articulate what that meant. And then once I started to understand this thing with Hermes, and I'm still understanding it, it's the more I delve into the being, the more I get to understand myself. Yeah, it's the Mad Hatter, right? It's like you're saying things that don't make sense. And I even recently posted a video. These kids were raving, and it's a filter on the video where it makes you look like you're sad and crying. And I wrote something along the lines of, you know, when you say you want to hang out with me and we do psychedelics and we go party, and then heart chakra stuff starts happening and everyone fucking cries, it's a shamanic experience, or what I am now redefining as the Neosha, which is the new version of the shamanic thing. Hermes is the god, Mercury is the god of the boundaries. He's the God that's always in the liminal spaces, and at any given point in your life it'll trigger something, and you will go through a death and rebirth experience. Hermes, Mercury, even in alchemy, Mercury is the mind. It is the actuating cause to change. And all of life is evolution. Nothing can stay the same. If you try to stay the same, I mean, you're fucked anyways. We're all fucked. And we're fucked in the most beautiful way because we're here to change and evolve. So these stories of this is a prison planet, there's something wrong, there are beings, families, blah, 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 that are controlling and shit. They're just old methods or modes of operating. They're just old stories. That's all they are. But we're here to change, and everything that you believe is subject to change. And I can't speak on your behalf, you, the character, the one that's pretending to be you while I'm being me. So we're all gonna have our own deaths, and it's gonna suck because anything that has been instilled is a program, like a habit. And when Mercury comes into the picture, and he's always at the gates of these changes. So you're here to evolve, and that's inevitable, and you don't have a choice in the matter. And I have this theory of mine, which I've been putting to practice more and more and more, which is I don't think I have a say in this world. The idea of free will. I think the only free will that I actually have is how I spend my time while these transitions and changes occur. So if I want to suffer, it's because I'm going to keep attaching myself and holding on to what was. Because it no longer is. That's what we're transitioning, right? We're in a liminal space, or Hermes is in the liminal space, which is that little gap between what was and what's about to become, or what will be. The space that just, there's no storylines. And stories is how you make reality through belief systems. And, a story is a person, place, and thing, right? That's the structure and foundation of all stories, right? You can check out a gentleman named Joseph Campbell. He took a lot of the Jungian psychoanalysis, plus the ancient works of societies, cultures, and whatnot. And he was able to articulate the fact that the only reason you exist is because of story, and the only purpose to life is to tell story and to experience story, and that's it. And it's like, well, what the fuck? But I feel like there's so much more. It's like, right, because the stories, the programs, the archetypes, right? The mind cannot look at the unknown without projecting onto it what it thinks it knows based on these biological structures that are inherent in all of us in our subconscious. Our subconscious is a major part of how we create reality, but we don't pay attention to that part of ourselves, of the mind. So we get caught up in the conscious thing, right? Love, sex, need, drugs, money, necessity, family, friends, clothing, survival, living, existence. I'm alive and I'm gonna die, and so on and so forth. These things are inherently in us, and in alchemy we talk about the one thing, which is the actuating cause of everything. So we call that the soul, which is the sulfur or the essence, the essential oil of the thing, God, the creator, the one, right? And then it inherently creates a thing called the mind, which is the spirit, the alcohol, the mercury. You got a pretty neck, thank you. It's the actuating cause. So now we get to the mercury part, which is the mind, the thing that's imagining everything. And then that creates, immediately the second that thing has a thought. So in the beginning, the earth was without form and void. There was nothing. And then God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God's first creation was this angel called Lucifer, Luce, light, the angel of light, the most beautiful angel with thousands of wings and so on and so forth. And that's not a bad thing, because God created it. And God, creator, whatever you want to call it, would never create anything outside of itself. It can only create itself, and it multiplies itself, but it wants to experience itself as other because, I don't know, maybe boredom, because it can, you know what I mean? So you fucking do it. And it did. And that thing that it created ran amok. So there was grace, which is bliss, which is no thought, no mind, right? The mind. But there was no desire. There was no separation. And then separation happened the second that I had a thought. And separation is not true, it's not factual, because it's only one truth, and that's the I am, or the creator, the one thing, the designer, the head bitch of everything, the thing that's pretending to be you who's listening and me who's speaking, vice versa. But yeah, and it ran amok. Type of story. So I fell from grace. It fell from grace, right? It wasn't cast down. It cast itself down. So a lot of Mercury going on. I'm going to take it back a notch. So to speak of this archetype, which is the throat, the thing that speaks. So Hermes, Mercury, is the god of communication. When you speak it, this is logos, by the way. When you speak it, it is, right? We have this power, and it's not even like so much as a power, but it's just an inherent ability of ours. It is the first inherent ability of ours. It has been perversed, and that's cool because Hermes is also the god of perversions. We lost ourselves to this idea. We forgot something, and we're always going to find our way back to the thing. And when you speak, it is. He's the god of communication. What you communicate has to come from somewhere else, though, right? You don't just speak. There has to be some sort of motivation. So we don't operate from intuition, and that's been my practice for the last 5-6 years now, is to act out of intuition. I don't act because of intuition, because that's not acting. That's not from intuition. I don't think about it. So I have people that interrupt that flow, and that's not a bad thing. It's just it is what it is, and ask me or say to me, "Whoa, you're doing this thing. How are you doing that thing?" I have to stop for a second, because I don't know how I'm doing that thing. I'm just allowing the thing inside of me, which I call the spark within me, to trigger. And I do. And when I do these things, whatever it is, I don't have an answer, but I could conceptualize, I could articulate an answer using the archetypes and the elements and the 3 principles and the 12 performers, or the zodiac sign, or 13, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's inherently in me, and it is in you, but I'm going to talk about me, because that way you can project onto me, and I accept that. That way you don't have to think about yourself, but you can use me as the thing, right? So you can shoot at me, you can shoot the messenger all you want. It makes it easier than shooting yourself, because the mind has to go through these processes, because I'm going to break down belief systems as I instill new belief systems. And what I'm going to explain to you guys when it comes to Hermes, Mercury, they're storage structures. So yeah, we can tap into the belief structures of reality, but this is what it is, and everything came from it. Look at the 7 days of the week, right? Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? Or it was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? So you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the 3, and then you have Wednesday, which is the middle of the week, and then you have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So you have 3 on the left and 3 on the right, all right? And you have one head macho, the bad bitch in the middle. That's Mercury, that's Hermes, that's the thing itself, right? And it created all the other archetypes in order for it to exist and to create a story, and it structures these stories, right? So I'm gonna work off my notes so that I'm not just like, the wind is blowing, Mercury, all this stuff is going on. I'm gonna structure it for the sake of this conversation. So for all whom life is an adventure, whether an adventure of love or of life, he is the common guide. So Mercury, Hermes, is the psychopomp. He's the guide that brings you into life. He's the reason why you exist. He's the reason why you were born. And he's also the reason why you move through life. Everything that happens in between, that's all you, the character, the idea, the persona, the mask. You know what I mean? Because you're not who you think you are, or you want to believe that you are. We're just playing this fucking game, right? So he's the guide of that. And when I say psychopomp, what I'm saying is he's the one that leads you into life and into death. So he is the alpha and omega in a sense. He's the dancing Shiva, right? He's the thing that is and is not. He's the thing that starts and ends. So think of the Ouroboros for a second, right? So if you think about the Ouroboros, right? Once you're done eating your tail, through all the little episodes of your life, there's a beginning and the end. The serpent fully devours its head and it starts all over again. A new thing. And Hermes, Mercury, Quicksilver, Hg, the metal that is liquid at room temperature, and we could say room temperature is the temperature of reality. He's the metal that isn't solid or liquid, but is both. While all the other metals, except for gallium, but that's a different story, are well, I'll tell you this much. So, and I've shared this in other Instagram lives. So when I was a kid, I would take my grandmother's thermometers, which were mercury thermometers, and I'd break them, and I would collect the mercury, and then I would situate the broken pieces together and put it back where I found it, so that when she rummages through her shit, she would think that she broke it somehow. But I would collect it in a little medicine bottle. And I did this for years. And I don't know why I knew this, but I knew that I wasn't supposed to tell anyone. Maybe it was because I broke them, but I never even showed my friends. I would play with this mercury under my bed, and when I had enough of it, I would wait for everyone to be out of the house for me to play with this mercury. And I noticed something. So I would stand on top of my bed, and I would take this wad of mercury in the pill bottle, and I would just drop it onto the floor. As soon as I dropped it, I would drop to the floor, put my head on the floor, and stare at this one fat wad of liquid mercury, elemental mercury. I would watch it. And my whole thing is that I wanted to see, you know what I mean? I wanted to see this thing hit and break. I wasn't that fast, but I get on the floor, I put my head down, and I would see little tiny bubbles, little spheres of this mercury that broke up. And I always noticed something, that if I got really, really close, I could see myself, because it was a mirror. Later, much later, like 30-something years later in my life, I understood that if I took one of those little bubbles and I did the same thing again, and I had a really good lens and I could zoom in, it's the same thing. And if I could take one of those micro bubbles and do it again, it would be the same thing. And if I did it again, it would be the same thing. And if I did it again, it would be the same thing, infinitely. So I've come to understand, it's like, okay, cool, so as above, so below, as within, so without, blah, 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 alchemical shit, cool. But I noticed something, that no matter what I did, I saw myself in the reflection of this thing, and it was always reflecting me. Okay, cool, that's awesome. So that's as far as I'm gonna go. It's a really good electrical conductor. We use it in lighting. We have been for a very long time. We're changing that right now. I mean, we even try to change it because it's so poisonous in the environment, so like sodium lights and blah, 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 to other metals. But fluorescent lighting, mercury powder, it's just really good at what it does for lighting. So that's as far as I'm going to go when it comes to the elemental aspect of mercury. By the way, thank you for the rain clouds that are happening. So Mercury is a trickster, and tricksters in the animal realm are fox, whether it's Arctic, desert, fennec, red fox, Mercury. rabbit, well, all the corvids, ravens, crows, magpies, right? All these animals are tricksters, and they all are rich in mythology when it comes to that trickster aspect. And it's like it's the shaman is a trickster as well, because it tricks you into self-awareness. It tricks you into the next phase of your evolution, of your being, because the old way is no longer suffice. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't suffice anymore. I'm gonna do my best to make this quick. So he's this god of psychology. He's the Neosha, the neo-shaman, or the shaman. He's very important in male sexuality, male spirituality, issues of the body and mind connection. And when I say male, it's not about my penis or your penis or your hypothetical penis based on your belief shit. He's the golden phallus that comes out of the oceans, the chaotic waters of creation. It is that thing, and then that thing jizzes reality, right? If you're having a hard time with the belief systems that you have about gender and shit like that, fuck off. Just get off the channel. Get off the live. But he's also the ruler of the in-betweens. So he's not the ruler of the left and or the right. He's the ruler of the thing in between, the thing that separates. So he's also the god of the crossroads. And if you think about a crossroad, right? So follow my hands real quick. This is a road. And then something in the middle, Mercury, is there as an obstruction. And it breaks the path into two. Now, if you think about it, this one path splitting into two, it's not really two paths. It's just the illusion of two paths. But Mercury is always found there, right? Hermes comes from the word herm or herma, and what the ancients used to do, and especially, particularly in Greece, first and foremost. They weren't doing this in Egypt because Egypt had its own egregores of rulership, control, and all this shit. But in Greece, which was the more artistic, more liberal, more socially friendly society when it came to this archetype in particular, there were these pillars, like square. Imagine a square, but as a pillar, erected up. So I would put that in a corner to define my property, to define my space, right? The god of boundaries. So Hermes, the Herma, was also the phallus. Has nothing to do with what you may or may not be imagining, but it's just what it was. Eventually, it turned into a cock, like the image of a cock. Eventually, they put a circle on top of the square, the elongated square, the Herm, and it became a representation of that. When you're at the crossroads, it's the most magical thing ever, because you can go to the crossroads and ask for something, but you also go to the crossroads to relinquish something, right? So the one road splits into two, so you're going to pick a side. You're going to pick a left or a right. If you pick right, you sacrifice something to the left. If you pick left, you sacrifice something to the right. You always give something up in order to attain something else, or to achieve or a state or get to a place by giving up the old space. They're just decision-making markers, you know what I mean? But that's Hermes, that's the Herma, that's the Herm, right? So, as the god in between, he's also the god of your joints, the connective tissue. That's why this bone connects to this bone. It's Hermes, and there's movement. But anyway, so here's that. He's also the creator. He creates contrast. So he is black and he is the white. And there's a thin line. Think of the yin and yang symbol. So people always miss the point. It's not even miss it. They just don't even fucking see it. Everyone sees the yin and yang symbol, and they think about, oh, in light there's a little bit of dark, and in darkness there's a little bit of light, and they all swirl, chasing each other, blah, blah, blah. Yes, but for the sake of our conversation with Hermes, Mercury, yin and yang symbol. Hermes or Mercury is the line. Does that make sense? He's the line itself. He creates the boundary, and that creates the idea of left and right. If it weren't for Hermes, there would be no idea of left and right. It would just be, there would be no black and white. There would be no duality. There would be no positive and negative, no masculine and feminine. We would not create life. I cannot get my wife pregnant. I cannot create life. I cannot destroy life. Everything would just be the same. So nothing would have ever happened. So we would be in this primordial ooze of whatever the fuck that was. We wouldn't be here having this conversation with these technologies and so on and so forth. He's just the line. That's it. And it seems simple, but it's so fucking complex. It's so much more complex. It's so fucking complex that you may or may not realize that it's the thing that's killing you right now. It's the thing that's killing society right now. It's the thing that's killing our government. It's the thing that's killing our politicians, our leaders, our kings, our queen, all that shit. It's the thing that's killing all that stuff. Because it adds contrast. And without contrast, we wouldn't even be able to produce art. Hermes. So that means that he's all-encompassing. If he is the line of the yin and yang, then he is the all-encompassing thing that is all of reality, right? He's the all-being. He's the psychopomp. He's the one that traverses the above and below. The reason that we say as above, so below, as within, so without is because of Mercury. He is the god that created alchemy. He's the god that created everything, but he's the one that created that expression of Hermes Trismegistus, right? As above, so below, as within, so without. Everything is happening up there is happening down here. Everything is happening here is happening out there. But you got to understand Mercury in order to understand what the fuck you actually are and what reality is, right? Cool. So he's the god that transcends you or brings you into the underworld. He's going to bring your consciousness into your unconscious realms or your subconscious realms. He's also the god that brings you into the state of healing. And you need that because he's going to push you into boundaries that you're not comfortable with, that you didn't want to go to. And if it weren't for him, well, you would never fucking change. You would stay a fucking child seeking the breast of your mother or the mother called Earth. And what's interesting is that we still do this shit. So we're past puberty, right? Physically, biologically, we're past puberty. We're going into adolescence now, so we're past the puberty part. So now we're post-puberty. We're in our 20s, so we're young adults and we go into adulthood. But something about the human condition continues to leave us in a place where we want to suckle on the breast and the teats of the mother. And that sucks because, no pun intended, that sucks, the breast. Okay. We're here to change. We're not here to be divine children. People want to be divine children because it's fucking innocence, and innocence is just, you don't fucking know left from right. You don't know up from down. So you want to be stuck in this stage because if you stay stuck in the adolescence or the childish stage, you're innocent, meaning you're pure, meaning that you don't have to take responsibility like a fucking adult in this reality. So we want to stay there. I keep thinking there's someone behind me. Not that. Anyways. Do you see it? Anyways. So I talked about the pillar, the cock. Okay, let me go real quick. I really didn't plan this much. I was doing biological cleanup of the mercury that I was oxidizing because I also don't want to fuck with my fucking environment. But he's a trickster. He holds great knowledge. He holds the knowledge of everything. And wisdom and intelligence. He uses this to defy the structures of morale. You know, if we think about morale is a construct of social standards, which is a group of beings agreed that this is okay and this is not okay. And then you're born into a society that is run or led by these beings that have chosen these magicians who have decided that this is the world that you live in and this is how things operate, right? But Hermes lives at the boundaries of everything. So reality and societies are constructed by stories, and a story is a structure, so there are lines, right? So if I say the word what's a good neutral word, I don't know, life, right? So if I say the word life, L-I-F-E, I can put the word life in a box, like a sticker, like a label, exactly that. And there's something that defines the word life, and that most of us agree upon what that is. So there are rules to this idea of the word life, right? But so there's a line, there's a boundary, right? And that's fine. That's not a bad thing, because secretly the one that created the lines and the boundaries was Hermes. Anyway, it's the god that fucks himself. But it's a different story. But he's everything that comes in and out of a society is governed by these rules, these structures, these lines, these things that we call belief. It's funny, in the word belief is the word L-I-E, lie. Okay, cool. Just keep that in mind for a second. So, conventional rules, laws, doctrines, all of the old ways. And if you've been watching, you've heard me say in previous videos, fuck the old gods and fuck the old ways. Fuck the sacraments and fuck what we hold sacred. And fuck what you hold sacred. Because we're here to change this shit. Because if we weren't, you wouldn't be tuning in to an aspect of yourself talking to you anyway, right? So fuck that shit. Why fuck it? Remember, you don't have to put your hypothetical or physical or literal penis into it, right? Fuck it. Who cares? They've been running amok for so long, and they've done what they've done since Sumeria. Here we are. We're here because of spells that were implemented in Sumeria and in Mesopotamia and in Egypt and in Greece and in Rome. Fuck those gods and fuck those ways and fuck those laws, fuck those rules, fuck those ideas, fuck those belief systems, and fuck the morals that came from it. Now you can question, try to challenge me and say, oh, but it's wrong to XYZ. Cool. Take that shit and fuck yourself with it. I don't care. Because we're changing something. We're changing a reality. Look into the world. You like what you see? I don't give a fuck about what I see. I'm happy about what I see because this is the age of information, which leads to the fact that this is the age of change. Not because we need it, because we're suffering. No, we're suffering because it's not working anymore. So Hermes breaks these physical and spiritual structures to make space for something new. That's it. Any belief and program that is broken naturally must come down hard. That's why it sucks. It's like breaking an old habit. It sucks and it hurts. So beliefs are not based on truth. No, because there's only one truth. But it's hard to talk about the truth because the fact that we call it the truth, we move away from the thing itself, right? But the best that we could do is call it the truth. And there's only one truth. And the one truth is that I am. I, capital I, am. Right? That's it. When I look into your eyes, I still say the word I. They say that the eyes are the windows to the soul, right? And that the pineal gland is the seeds and so on and so forth, right? Cool. When I look into your eyes, I still say and see and experience I. I'm just talking to myself, or I self, right? Myself, my dash self is just the idea, the construct of the character, which is fine. It's the purpose, it's part of what makes reality. We need that kind of stuff, right? So I am saying some stuff right now, and I can feel it. There's a few of you right now that are feeling uncomfortable. And I want to, you don't need it, but sometimes the conscious mind needs this, maybe the subconscious. I give you permission to feel what you're feeling. And I give you permission because I know what it's like. Because you're dying. And if you're not dying right now, and there's a couple of you that are, but if you're not dying, you're gonna fucking die. And I'm just planting a seed, and if you have the soil that has the correct nutrients for what I'm saying for this seed, it'll germinate. But it's your job to keep feeding that. And we can talk privately, or there are books. You can start to actually do the fucking work in the lab and stop asking me for fucking hints. Actually fucking do the work. But if you have the soil for it, then you'll nurture that, and something will grow, and eventually something will fruit or vegetate or blossom from that. Well, the blossoming part would lead to the... Anyway. Yeah, I think that's one truth, is no separation. Beliefs from the mind, Mercury, create the illusion. Right. Well, you're running, you're going ahead of me. I'm doing my best to stay on track. So I'll go back to this. So you're breaking a habit regardless of what you want. And this is going to occur whether you like it or not. You know the idea of free will? I have this theory that the only free will that I have is to choose my experience, to choose my reality, how I feel whilst this change occurs. So I cannot change this. When Mercury shows up and and you find yourself in the liminal space, whether you are aware of it or not, you cannot stop what's happening. You cannot stop your evolution, and you cannot stop the change. Oh, but I thought I had free will. Yes, you do, but here's your fucking free will. How you spend the time while this change occurs. You can stay attached to what was. It doesn't matter. It's going to change regardless. But why not enjoy yourself in the meantime? It's like getting on a roller coaster. I love roller coasters. They used to terrify the shit out of me. I used to go to Six Flags with a bunch of friends, get on these roller coasters. There was this one roller coaster at Six Flags in New Jersey, it called the Medusa, and I went on. That was my first roller coaster, and I went in, and I was fucking sweating, I was fucking terrified, and I bought the ticket. So I purchased a ticket to the fucking event, and I got in, and I'm like, oh no, and like, you know, the seatbelts come down, and it's like, oh no, this thing could break, blah, blah, blah. And then I start to move forward. I'm like, oh no. And your legs are fucking dangling. And I'm wearing 6.5-inch platform boots, right? So my legs are like lead weights, really swinging left and right. And it's going. It's like, well, I already signed up. I'm not going to get out of this. There's no way I can stop it. But the mind wants to, like, as if there was a choice to get out of the thing, right? There's no fucking choice. I'm fucked. Maybe. I don't fucking know. And I would spend the entire day going on the roller coaster, getting out, buying another ticket, and get back into it. Because I'm like, this is fucking awesome. I'm terrified. It could break. You know, So I use this as a reference point, as an example of I chose how I'm going to experience my reality, my experience from A to B, from alpha to omega, from beginning to end. That's it. And you have that choice. That's your one choice. How are you going to spend the time between here and there? There's that liminal space that you're already in. How are you going to spend your time between, oh no, my beliefs, my habits, my programs, my illusions, right? To what's coming. You don't know. And fear, it only comes from the unknown. I don't know what's happening. Well, the full fear is coming from the fact that you don't know. The fear is coming from you're still holding on. You are fighting down and gripping. Your jowls are locked like a fucking pit bull to what was. It doesn't fucking matter. It's changing anyway. So why not try something different for the first time, which would be, what if I surrendered? What if I made the best of this for myself? Because I can't change what's happening. I don't know what's going to, what is the outcome of this change that's occurring? I don't fucking know. But I will tell you that you have an opportunity, you always have and you always will, and you do right now, how you spend your time in the in-between stage. Everybody fucking feels it. You don't need to be practicing alchemy or magic with a capital K or just with a lowercase c, like or spirituality or religion or occultism. It doesn't fucking matter. You don't need to. It doesn't matter what you subscribe to, but you're subscribing to something. And tell me otherwise in the comments right now. Don't you know? Don't you feel it? That there's something happening? It's fucking crazy. This isn't Y2K, right? This isn't COVID. Some crazy shit is happening. I mean, now governments are talking about aliens. UFOs, right? It's all bullshit, by the way. Because they're interterrestrials. They're interdimensional beings. Anyways, but like the world is fucking changing right now, right before our eyes. All of our belief systems are being put to the test, but not because the universe is like, I'm going to test your belief systems. They're your belief systems. The universe is bringing something new. Hermes is bringing something new. So that means that what you believed, it's not just being challenged, you're challenging yourself. It's just changing it. We don't need you to fucking realize. We don't need you to fucking change. In the Bible, by the way, which is a very good alchemical text, says that 144,000 souls will make it. Well, think about a soul has many avatars in this reality to maximize experience. There aren't as many souls as there are avatars in the fucking planet. So we don't need you to get with the fucking program. But I'm just gonna throw this out there. Wouldn't it be nice? This small circle of us can hang out, have some mimosas, some fucking rosés, some beautiful fucking gin and tonics, some mezcal, smoke a blunt, whatever it is. While the world, as we believed it to be, dies. I'm gonna be sitting front row seats, eating like cosmic popcorn. I don't eat popcorn, I don't eat corn, but just cosmic popcorn, just like, wow, these motherfuckers. And I'm not even sad. Just, why? If I know what this is, I know the truth. And there's nothing for me to worry about them because you know the truth. I mean, this is Christ consciousness. This is the Buddha, right? You already know. My job is to do what I'm doing right now via this platform and via my physical reality with the people that I meet. So there's that. Back to Mercury. You don't choose when it's complete. That's not up to you. Hermes violates social and even natural orders. So what we believe to be how nature operates is being fucked with by Hermes too. Maybe we don't need sunlight. Oh, I know. I'm not a gatekeeper or a psyop or anything, but the fact that I said that may trigger something in a few of you that believe in that shit. But I'm not saying that we don't need this, but maybe what we believe takes away from our sovereignty, right? I mean, we got a long ways. That wasn't part of the Instagram live. Hit me up. We can do a service call. We could talk about that. But Mercury is always at the gates of those in and outs. A society has a boundary, and it filters what comes in and what goes out of it. So America has these boundaries, and it filters what comes in and what goes out. Every country does the same thing. These stupid old these old magicians, they're so fucking whack. It's just like old white men testicles just trying to govern something that they have no more control over anyways. Not anymore, because we're not allowing them to have control over us. Well, we don't have to fight or protest anymore. Black Lives Matter, right? Fighting for the left, the right. Like, who gives a shit? We don't need to fight. We do this for ourselves, and which means that we do this together. Every story has its boundaries, so that ideas can manifest. That's the thing. So, just in case, because I thought about this before I did this live, it's not that Mercury just shows up to boundaries and demolishes them. Mercury, Hermes, is the one that creates these boundaries itself, because he's the god of communication, which means he's the god of storytelling, right? And he's not subject to his own beliefs because he's not a fucking idiot. So even if he doesn't know, he's not a fucking idiot. So he knows that everything that I believe and say, I can contradict myself at any point. And you know that you're talking to someone intelligent and authentic when from time to time they contradict themselves. Because someone that never contradicts themselves and is sticking to their fucking story no matter what is lying, and they believe their lies. Creation, crossing boundaries. This is all Mercury, right? What was, what is, and what's going to be all Mercury. I'm gonna get to the final page. I don't know how long it's been, but the sun is setting, and I feel like, yeah. But I want to share this. So life has no meaning. There is no point to life. And it can feel sad, right? We can go to existentialism from that, and we could also go to some of us have gone to nihilism, where we want to destroy the world because we take everything that was done to us personally, blah blah blah. Life has no meaning, but that's because life is waiting for you to give it meaning. Your life is waiting for you to give it meaning. Life has no meaning. Life is what it is. You think what life is based on your perceptions and perspectives and belief systems, but that's not what life is. Life is what it is. It's just a platform, a stage for you. You have been gifted an opportunity. You have a gift to create your life. You don't live in a world. You live in your world. You don't live in a world. You live in your world. Reality is the one that you live in. It has nothing to do with the shit that we read on our fucking phones and we jerk off to in the radio. I don't know if people still listen to radio, but it has nothing to do with that. It's your reality, your world. And when you meet up with me, my world has the privilege to my world has a privilege of intersecting with your world, which means right in there. Do you see the vagina in there? Do you see that? Sexy, right? That is one sexy, moist, vaginal vesica Pisces that's just waiting for you to just slide in with creation. You create this world, not the world. You create this world for yourself, so you affect others' worlds. You don't have to take that as a responsibility, because that responsibility is left to some of us that take on the work of the Christ consciousness, the Christus, the Buddha, the Neosha, right? And we don't take that upon ourselves either, trust me, because it'll be easier for me to fuck off and fuck you guys and fuck everybody, and I just go and like maybe have a baby, have a little farm, some dogs, a bunch of fucking cats. I get milk from goats and make my own cheeses and shit. But that's not why I'm here. We're here for each other, right? So this doesn't mean that life is arbitrary. And Nietzsche, by the way, one of my favorites, he is the most dangerous mind that I've ever read from. Nietzsche said that the myths of a society have been devised only for the purpose of meeting certain psychological needs. All right, I'll say this again. The myths of a society, or the beliefs, the stories of a society or group, they have been devised only to meet the purpose of meeting certain psychological needs. And where Hermes comes in, Mercury comes in, is once that need has been met, then there's no reason to do reruns. What we do is, what Mercury does, what Hermes does, is cool. You did it. Bravo. You did it. Now that you have met that psychological need, and now that you have the story that you created, the belief system that was created to serve the psychological need of the mass, or the society, or even you, the being, the self, the singular, the one. Now that has been met, you now enter a liminal space. This is where you were at. This is where you're going to go. This is the liminal space. Now that you have exceeded and sometimes surexceeded that thing, now we're going to push you further to the next story, because everything is infinite. The one is infinite. So why the fuck would you think that the laws of physics created by human beings in this fucking planet still apply to us now? Why the fuck do you think, why would you give into the belief, after this conversation that we've had, why would you get into the or submit to the belief that this is what it is? Now you take this home with you this evening, and from here on out, think about all the social structures and belief systems that we created. That there's a thing called outer space, right? That the earth is round, that the planets in our solar system are round, that everything is what it is because that's what you've been fucking told. I'm not a flat earther. I don't give a fuck whether the earth is round or flat. I don't care there's way cooler things to masturbate to than that kind of shit. But there's more going on. So maybe why not be open? The fact that the fucking world, society is bringing that kind of shit up again, or new things to our fucking field, to me, what that tells me is we're fucking changing. We're fucking changing. I'm fucking changing. I'm fucking evolving. I'm moving forward. Because I'm a magician. I'm not a pawn. I'm not even a piece on the fucking chessboard, if you will. So, sorry to the Masons and the Rosicrucians and shit, but I'm not a piece on the board. I'm not even a king or a queen or a bishop or a knight or a rook on the board. I am the hand that moves. I am the hand. Well, I'm not the hand, but I have the fucking hand that makes my reality. That's it. And you have that power. No one's had that power over you, by the way. We relinquish that kind of power to, I don't even know anymore. Was it the Sumerians? Was it the Anunnaki? Like, I don't care anymore. I don't have reptilians or Sumerian gods like dictating, judging my life, like creating. I don't even have Jesus Christ dictating my life. Dude was cool. That's whatever. A Buddha. No, I have never met a fucking alien. I have never met a fucking deity. I have never met anything outside of myself more powerful than self. So why would I give a fuck? And we've been relinquishing our power to these absurd and stupid and ridiculous and fucking retarded ideas of presidents and leaders and governments and lies and this is society. I don't care. Hermes, Mercury is the thing that allowed me to empower myself. I did not get empowered by this thing called Hermes or Mercury. It taught me that I'm the nigga. I'm the honcho. I'm the thing. I'm the bitch. I'm the fucking bad bitch. I'm the one. Not on some like Neo shit like I'm the one that's gonna save the world. I'm the one for my fucking self. My fucking life. I heal myself. I fix myself. I make my hell. I am the one that creates. I'm upset. I'm not happy. I'm sad. I'm disappointed. I do that shit. Because if I'm God and you're God, that means that I'm also the devil. You're the devil. You're the one that creates suffering for yourself. I create suffering. I don't create suffering for myself anymore because I'm not a fucking delusional idiot. And I don't say this in a bad way. It just is what it is, right? So life isn't arbitrary. You have to take responsibility for yourself. This is Hermes. This is Mercury. You take responsibility for yourself and you go into the unknown, obviously, without knowing. Because, I'm going to step out for a second. I'm going to keep talking. Because you have to take responsibility for it. Why do you think that they crucified this dude that we call Jesus Christ? Because he told everybody the truth. And he was Mercury, by the way, in a new embodiment. And he said to them, I'm not healing this person. He never said I'm creating a miracle, I'm doing a miracle. He never said that this is magic or I'm doing this because I'm a healer or anything like that, because he wasn't a healer. He wasn't a miracle worker at all. What this dude named Jesus of Nazareth did was he knew truth. He knew Mercury. He knew Hermes. And he operated from that place. So he told what was. My mother has been blind for her whole life, for 40 years, or my father's been, you know, a paraplegic for 40 years or whatever the fuck, right? That motherfucker never said, oh, she can see now. He knew the truth. She can see. She can walk. He can fuck. He can get her. He has an erection. He can just be. She can just be. So if you think about it, that's not magic. That's operating from the truth. When you build a relationship with Hermes, with Mercury, you build a relationship with an authentic aspect of yourself. Perhaps the most authentic aspect of yourself. But it is a trickster. And of course it's going to be a trickster. If you think about it, it's fucking with what you believed. It's fucking with what you thought. It's fucking with what you were. But it's also in that liminal space, it's providing and offering an opportunity for you to move forward and do something different for yourself first and foremost. But also it's an opportunity for you to do something that will inherently change the world. It'll inherently affect your field around you. So when someone comes to me and says that they are XYZ, I don't hear that. I hear the belief system, but what I do is I speak it using the logos, the word, the good word, the gospel, or the God spell. I don't do it to fix or heal or even reconfigure. I just know that you're caught up in a story, in an illusion, and we can change that. I don't think of it as changing. I think of it as reminding a child of what is, as opposed to what was. But anyways, that's Hermes, that's Mercury. I'm gonna have more data in the future. I need some weird planetary personal shit to keep going by. But I don't even know if you guys can hear me. Let me know if you even can. But yeah, I love you guys. Thanks for tuning into an aspect of yourself. And yeah, I don't know if this is working. I see people leaving, but this is part one of that thing called Hermes. This is part one of that thing called Mercury. This is the part one of that thing that you actually are, but we're busy playing these other games and we forget, and that's okay. That's why I exist. That's one of the reasons why I exist. I don't exist for anything else. Shit. I mean, according to some stuff, I'm in the 9 life path. I'm fucking here to chill and just do what I'm asked to do. I'm not even here to desire or want or need or request or require. Yeah, I'm just at service to my reality. But I'm not going to play the games that my reality presents, because then I wouldn't be here. Anyway, I love you guys very much. Not because I have to, but because that's just what it is. That's the nature of this reality. The next video I'm going to do is going to be on Red Fox. It has been selling out, but I haven't even made it available to the public. And then after that will be the Mountain Lion, unless Mercury fucks with my reality and says, no, bitch, this is what we're doing. But I'll see you guys soon. I love you guys so much. Bye.